Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Friday Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind. Today is all about how to make more money in less time. A lot of top mortgage professionals on today's call, and then we've got two of our mentors. Todd Bookscan couldn't make it today, but Jen, good morning.
Morning. Happy Groundhog Day, everybody.
I did not know it was Groundhog Day.
Yeah, 2-2.
Good to know. And Michelle Town. What's up, Michelle?
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to say happy pre-Super Bowl Friday.
There you go.
Yeah, I would be more excited if the Broncos were playing, but I enjoyed the Super Bowl no matter what, and I don't know who I'm for yet.
I have their colors on, but they're not there.
Yeah, right on. And then we are welcoming a special guest, Kelly Marsh. She wasn't able to join us on video, but we're going to hear from Kelly. So, Kelly, good morning and welcome to the Mortgage Coach community.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us. So I'm going to more formally bring Kelly in just a minute. Actually, it's going to be more like about 5 minutes. I want to share some opening thoughts. And if you guys can confirm that you can see my screen real quick.
Yes, we can.
And I'm cool. And I'm going to stop sharing my video. And I want to share some thoughts with everybody and really set the table. It's part of why I invited Kelly to this call and the topics that I want to drive. And then it's also, some of these slides are coming from keynotes that I've been giving. So I've been asked to speak at a number of lenders' annual sales rally and deliver a keynote. And I want everybody to, I want to walk you through that. I'm trying to do a 15-minute keynote in about 5 minutes. So time me, everybody. So you know how good I do it, keeping this 5 minutes. But in Mortgage Coach, I come from a unique place in the fact that, one, we help loan officers use technology so that they can communicate more effectively and be more successful in the business. And then two, we've been doing this for a long time, so we have some of the best loan officers in America. So 34% of the top 1% are part of this community. So what I want to do right now is I want to help everybody on this call think differently and how you leverage and use technology. So this year, I kicked off the year, and I think most of you are the Mortgage Coach community. You guys are either using Mortgage Coach or you're trying to use Mortgage Coach as a success tool. But I interviewed Todd Duncan a couple of weeks ago, and the theme of the conversation were what are the 5 keys to success in 2018. I interviewed Darren Hardy a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't watched this interview, check it out. But Darren's keys to success in 2018. This interview is super special. This gentleman right here, Steve Brown, was the former chief futurist for Intel for over a decade. When it comes to technology, the guy knows technology. I mean, today he speaks at Amazon's events. He consults with Apple, Facebook, you name it. This guy is providing leadership around where the puck is going. Where is technology going to be in 2020? And he knows our space. I met him because him and I shared a stage with a bunch of realtors. We were, on behalf of the lender, we were providing a briefing. He was the keynote. And the way he refers to mortgage, the loan officers on today's call is referral-based local lenders and loan officers. That's the term he uses. By the way, I posted a LinkedIn article. You can check that out. Here were the takeaways. So if you didn't listen to the call, the big takeaways are the big trends impacting the mortgage industry is big data, artificial intelligence, and multi-channel communication. Nothing new to this community. Here's a big takeaway. When I listened to his conversation, there's something called Moore's Law. And Moore's Law states that technology moves so quick and it accelerates that over the next 10 years, we're going to see more change than we did in the previous 50 years. And in making it more on point for everybody on this call, that means over the next 2 years, between now and 2020, we're going to see more change than we did in the previous 10 years. So wrap your mind around that. It was just a little over 10 years ago in 2007 when Steve Jobs announced the iPhone, which completely revolutionized, how we not just do mortgages, how we do life. So think about it. We're going to see more change than we saw since Steve Jobs announced the iPhone. over the next 2 years. That's the way we have to think. And so we're seeing this physical world, the digital world alike. And we're seeing it is more and more important as mortgage professionals that we leverage technology, but we leverage it so that we can connect with more people, have more scale, and have more meaningful connections and communication. So, couple thoughts as we get ready to bring Kelly Marsh in and really drill down on her business, because I think she represents a neat story in our space, is that if you knew that automation was going to eliminate all the redundancy, repetition in your business, and all that you have left is your human interaction, your human connection, it really does make it important to start leveraging technology. No, if you listen to this interview, I asked Steve, like, hey, Steve, what are some things that as lender, referral-based local lenders and loan officers, what should we be watching? What are the trends and the companies we should be paying attention to? And he said we should be paying attention to Amazon and Walmart and see what impact they're having in retail. And then the folks that are going to last and survive retail, how are they surviving? And then he said, and then in the mortgage space, you've got some lenders. You've got that Rocket Mortgage, which, by the way, everybody on this call, it was just announced. I don't know if people read it in Chrisman, but for the first time, Rocket, Quicken Loans did more loans than Wells Fargo, big bank. So he's like, there is the technology companies that do mortgages because they're going to get bigger. There's going to be more of them. And for you referral-based local loan officers, you need to gather data relentlessly so that you can customize and personalize. By the way, write this down, everybody. You have to gather data relentlessly so you can customize and personalize that. That means CRM. That means mortgage coach. Here's another thing, and I think I've shared this on this call before, so you've already seen it. Don't have to rewrite it down, although I would. Is that the future of your success is simple, that the lender and the loan officer with the most digital friends wins the biggest. Again, that doesn't mean that you don't meet with people in your office. That doesn't mean that you don't have amazing personal connections, because, by the way, that is your unique competitive differentiation in the future. But you gotta have this balance between man and machine, or woman and machine, in this case. So last thoughts, and then see how I'm doing on my time. I'm a little over 5 minutes. But last thoughts are, this is where technology is. This is where we're at. We're not using the technology we have the way we could and should use it. And by the way, this is what everybody needs to think about, is that it's moving quick, and there is a race to 2020. Because, put it this way, by 2020, according to Steve Brown, is that a family will be able to call into a phone, get a rate quote, and they will not know whether they're talking to a human or a machine. That's where voice technology is going to be in 2020. And big data and the ability for lenders to predict who's going to buy a home, who's going to refinance a home, and to have a machine call that sounds like a human being. You're going to have more competition. You're going to have more price compression. That means you need to get face-to-face. You need to connect with families better, faster than ever. And this is, by the way, one of the reasons why lenders are bringing in to talk to their sales forces is because they believe this, because this is where it's going. And that the lender and the mortgage advisor who can digitally upgrade the fastest wins the biggest. Again, I'm not some doomsayer that says, hey, if you don't adopt technology, you're dead. You're not. At least not by 2020. But I do believe that if you don't adopt technology, it's like you're in a race with a lot of people. There's a finish line, and there's a way to go downhill with the wind at your back. And then there's a route where you're going uphill with the wind at your face. And if you don't adopt technology, you're going to compete against a lot of people, a lot of referral-based local loan officers are going to go downhill with the wind at their back, and you're going to be going uphill with the wind at your face. You will not win the race. You will not, have the best market share in the market that you serve. You will not serve your families at the best. So you really need to become that, what I call, be a multi-channel mortgage professional. Don't deliver fee worksheets. Deliver graphs and charts. By the way, it's just good customer service. Let customers pick the loan they want, where they want, when they want, on what device they want. Whether they come into your office, you've got a great experience if you are using the tools properly. If you're meeting them in coffee shops, it's a better experience if you're using the technology properly. Again, that's what this call is all about. It's about how to become insanely productive, make more money in less time, And a lot of that has to do with technology. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to just kind of jump off my soapbox right now. I want to bring in a special guest, Kelly Marsh. Now, Kelly is someone that I have been trying to get to adopt Mortgage Coach. By the way, Kelly, how long has it been where I've been like, hey, you know, you really should use Mortgage Coach. You get on our team. How long do you think it's been?
I would say 15 years, maybe around there. 10 years? It feels like a long time, Dave. A long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, I've seen her at local events.
However
I've
long
known
you've
you
been
by
around, you've been trying to get me.
Yeah, right. And by the way, Kelly, tell everybody how much production you do. What is your, you know, on average annual production? Anything you want to share?
On average, I'm about 120 million a year. Last year I did transition, so my volume was down, but before that I was 125 and 145. So I've consistently been over 100 million.
Got it. So, folks, I mean, we're talking about someone that's incredibly successful. You know, and I think part of the challenge when getting someone like Kelly to adopt Mortgage Coach or any technology is like, hey, they're incredibly successful and what they're doing works. But, you know, Kelly, I also know that you have adopted Mortgage Coach. And I think in the second kind of third of this call, I really want to drill down on, you know, why and how. But I would like to kick off the call, at least understanding what was different about this time because you've now adopted it. I asked my team before this call, you know, like how many total cost analysis Kelly done, and it's like, you know, you're almost to 200. Why did you start adopting Mortgage Coach this time around versus, you know, previous years?
Well, I'm a creature of habit, and like a lot of human beings, I resist change. So when I disrupted my business last year and changed companies and changed platforms, every single software was different. The LOS I'd been on for my entire career of 20 years, I switched out of that. Calyx Point, so everybody loves Point on the front end user. It's obviously not a robust LOS system for the back end. So I went to the Cornerstone software, which was a little clunky in terms of the fee worksheets or client presentation software. So I knew I needed to do something different. Therefore, we connected. It was time. I was way past due. I mean, do I have regrets of not using Mortgage Coach in the past? I mean, I'm not going to live in regret, but yeah, I think it would have really helped my business. I think it's a wow factor for clients. I think it's our duty as loan originators, mortgage advisors, to be presenting to a client in such a clear, concise way of the different options they have. So yeah, I haven't done one other client presentation since August, since I started. It's kind of funny.
So wait, time out. So you mean in terms of you're using Mortgage Coach with every single client now? You know, like
exclusively.
You kind of
I haven't yet.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that is a hallmark of the best loan officers. Well, there are some loan officers that not every single top producer in America uses Mortgage Coach, but they all have consistent presentations. So that's interesting. You're like, okay, I've got to upgrade how I deliver options, and now it's like everybody gets, you know, whatever it is that you're doing.
Correct.
Is that right?
I mean, it was like I'm an all or nothing. Yes, I'm an all or nothing personality, so I'm all in. And yeah, I mean, the moment I started using it, it became really, you know, technology kind of scares me. I'll be honest. You know, I mean, your talk that you just were, you know, saying about where technology is going, you know, I get a little bit of anxiety around that. I mean, I'm not young, but I'm not old. I've been doing it for 20 years. It's like I've really had to change my mindset to be open-minded about technology and adapting. So adaptability is not one of my top strengths. But I definitely feel that once you start doing 10 or 12 of the total cost analysis, it really, you can go through it pretty quickly.
Awesome. Well, let's close out the call with, you know, let's say Mortgage Coach. I'm going to ask no more than two more questions, and then I'm going to have Jen and Michelle ask a couple questions. I want to know your mortgage practice. So, you know, two questions I have, and then I'm going to hand it off to them, is I'm assuming most of your business comes from realtor referrals, but I want to know. And then I want to know, when you do meet with families, you know, what percentage are you meeting with in your office? What percentage are you doing phone and internet? I want to kind of know that borrower conversation. And then, Jen, why don't you prepare your next question, and after she goes through that, and then Michelle will go to you. So are you primarily referral-based from realtor mortgage practice?
I'm exclusively referral based, and a big portion, I would say 50% of my business is coming from my past client database. So past clients and past client referrals. And then, and that really is our gold mine as mortgage advisors. I think we forget the value of our client database, and really to cultivate it and market it and annual reviews and all the things that we need to be doing. We forget about that. We get caught up in the now. So that's a big portion of my business. I'm really blessed with that. And then another portion, I do have a pretty solid realtor referral. I would say that's about 25% of my business, which is a little bit on the lower side. That's one of my focuses, one of my initiatives for 2018 is to really start cultivating and growing my realtor relationships. That's one piece that I've kind of let go with the focus where I'm at with building my team, getting my infrastructure going with my team, and then the transition. So I definitely expect to boost that percentage up in 2018.
And how many past customers do you have that you're marketing to and delivering service to throughout the year?
There's probably about 2,500 past clients. That's a rough. I'm not the one like in my Salesforce, in my CRM. So those stats, I could get a little bit more accurate preparation for that. But
more than 2,000, and we've been pushing that strategy hard just because when I interview top producers, it's I'm hearing that theme of folks that hey, every 1,000 past customers, if you work it right, if you deliver a lot of service and value year around, there's 100 transactions for every 1,000. So every year, plus there's a lot of referrals that you can pull out of those conversations and reviews that you can give back to your realtors and other referral partners. So it sounds like that's a big strategy for you. Let's close on more questions around that. But walk us through what percentage of your customers come into your office, and just describe the sales experience that you provide for families that are getting a loan.
I prefer meeting with all my first-time clients face-to-face. So I would say I meet 90% of my first-time clients in person, and then I probably meet with 30% of my past clients in person. I leave it up to them since we've already established the know, like, trust relationship from our past experience together. But definitely meeting the first-time clients absolutely face-to-face, whether it's a purchase or refi. So really, I've mastered my face-to-face client presentation. I've tweaked it over the years. I used to take off my phone calls, schedule my appointments, go through everything with them. I don't take any of my phone calls. My loan partner, Chelsea, takes the initial call, sets it up, sets the client up right, asks them the goals and dreams script, goes through everything. I don't meet with clients without having their paperwork. That way, when I meet with them, it's not a data entry appointment. Part of that really, I probably transitioned out of that in the last couple years, trying to keep my appointments down a little bit tighter in the time that I meet with them, and we can get to the meat of it. We can really talk about loan strategy and structure. The goal is that I have a little bit more information on them up front with the phone call with Chelsea, my loan partner. Therefore, when I meet with them, I can already have prepped a total cost analysis and mortgage coach. I try to have that done and prepped a little ahead of time, and then we'll tweak it based on our face-to-face conversation. But that way I can show them live when they're in my office. And then I just learned yesterday, I'm still learning, Dave, all the really cool features of Mortgage Coach. I went through and learned how to email the link and attach the PDF a little bit better. So I'm still a rookie in the total cost analysis. So I'm excited for my next stage of the wow factor for clients.
I love it. Well, folks, this is someone who, it's been less than 3 to 4 months, has almost created 200 total cost analysis, And so, you've made a change. So I know you kind of said earlier that, hey, I'm not good with change, but trust me, you're, at $100 million a year in production and growing, you've done a pretty good job of adopting things. And I do think you are a great case study and example for, the referral-based loan officer that is super successful, but recognize that, technology is shifting and that there's a better way for you to serve your clients. And between yourself and your team, you're upgrading how you deliver value. So I love it. So Jen, I'm going to hand it to you. What questions do you have at this point?
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, Kelly, for sharing all of this information. I really appreciate it. My question really surrounds, one part we'll do at closing, but, there's a lot of talk about the acres of diamonds that we have in our own database with our past clients. So I'm curious about not curious about, but I'm wondering if you could describe your approach to your past clients as it relates to executing the annual mortgage review and TCAs, because you mentioned that you only meet with them, the past clients, 30% of the time. So are you preparing and this is the specific portion of it, but are you preparing your TCA in advance of meeting, having your annual mortgage review phone call, or are you having someone on your team conduct the preliminary AMR, and then you're creating the TCA, or having someone from your team create the TCA so that you then can go have that phone call with them? So I'm just wondering if you can describe your process to be able to extract so many diamonds out of your database.
Well, that's one thing that we definitely are working on, a really clear plan of actions. I have wanted to do AMRs for years. I've wanted to do a lot of things for years, and I'm embarrassed to say, yes, my production's been great, and I know that's not just by chance. However, there's so many things I look back and go, wow, if I woulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda done that, holy cow, where would my production been? Could I have been over 200 million? I mean, marketing my database, yes, I've always, sent them here and there marketing pieces and kept in touch with email stuff. But to really, really connect after the loan closes, that's one of our new initiatives. So I have two loan partners. I have Chelsea and Heather. So Heather's role is to really initiate that AMR, and then schedules that time. I have a really structured calendar. So then she'll schedule that phone call. Nobody else is doing the TCAs other than myself right now. That doesn't mean it won't change. I'm still developing my front end team, so to speak, the origination side. So I may delegate that in the future, but right now I'm the one that's going to be doing the TCA. Well, the only one doing the TCAs, and with the clients. And what I'm doing is I'm going through. I haven't gotten fancy and gone through it with them live. I'm talking to them and kind of connecting with them, and then I'm going to follow up with them in an email with the TCA. Now, could I do that better and more powerfully with what I learned yesterday with Brian? Absolutely. My mind is going in all the different ways I can use the added features with Mortgage Coach to have even a better wow factor with clients. So I'm still learning it, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so can I ask you a quick follow-up question? 50% of your income came from your database, and you're just now using Mortgage Coach. So what do you I can't think of the word. What do you attribute your success at 50% of your database to, in relation to the engagement that you have with your past clients? So is it just the annual review, or are you doing something else in addition?
What I attribute, what I believe it is my face-to-face meeting that I have with the client at the very beginning, and really I believe that when we meet with clients face-to-face, there's nothing more powerful than a face-to-face meeting. That's where you're going to guide and connect, and the client's going to trust you. And I'm educating the client. I'm going through asking them really powerful questions in terms of where they want to be, how we're structuring a loan. I'm taking so much away from, it's not just about the rate. It's so much more than that. And when you meet and you go through everything with a client, I think I believe you just establish a very solid relationship with that client. Now, could I be better with connecting with them more frequently after their loan closes? Absolutely. But I think with that appointment and the connection I created with that client and the trust that they established with me, that's really what I attribute it to. I could only imagine if I take it a step up and do even more than what I have been doing in the past.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Awesome. So, Michelle, what questions do you have, Kelly?
Kelly, congratulations, first of all. Oh my gosh, on a transition year. Great job, my friend. Oh my gosh. To be so proud, and you have a very consistent business. I was telling Dave that I Googled you to know who you were some more and just kind of followed your career. So congratulations. Great job.
Thank you.
It's difficult, the loan business is difficult. We're always fighting for things in our client database. I agree with you. It's our gold mine, and sometimes we forget about it. So I have two questions for you. So one of the things you said, you were going to increase your realtor database. So I know there's going to be people on the call to know what kind of approach you're going to take with that. Are you going to integrate the total cost analysis into that presentation to the realtor? And then second is, do you rely a lot on technology, or do you pick up the phone and call your clients? So do you send an email to them, or do you, when you want to get proactive with them, do you actually pick up the phone?
So in terms of the realtors and where I'm going with that, we actually had our first happy hour last night. So I have 3 other LOs here at my office. So we put together a really casual happy hour at a local great restaurant bar. We had poker chips, handed them poker chips. Those were their drink tickets, and just kind of really going there to connect with them, see how life has been. That was successful. We want to keep it intimate. We want to keep it we're not inviting, 50 people. We don't have the space for it. We're really trying to do, 3 to 5 guests a piece. So that was successful last night. I mean, that's what it's really about is, I know we're saying the more friends, loan officer with the most friends wins. So really just trying to connect. So we're planning on doing that the first Thursday of the month. I've always done 2 realtor events a year, lunch and learns. They've been a huge success. Unfortunately, Santa Barbara's been hit with some real tragedy lately. So the Four Seasons, which is where my event was, is currently closed. So that's delayed. But I do plan on having 2 events. I had 1 last year, not 2, where I bring either a guest speaker in. I have a panel discussion. We usually have about 125 to 150 realtors, invitation only on that. That's been a success. But really, I think my goal this year is to connect with them a little deeper, see what's going on with them, see if there's anything, all of the resources that we as top producers have with coaching and mastermind groups and all the tools, is to really look at sharing some of those tools with the real estate agents that we work with to help them grow their business. And I think the byproduct is that they're going to want to send you business, but my main focus is see what I can do for them. That's my goal.
Love it.
Any other questions, Michelle?
Michelle, I didn't answer your other question about how I connect, phone call, email. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I'm kind of a little bit of both. If I were to think which one I'm more heavy on, I'm heavier on email communication with regards to, documenting and having that as, I think phone is great. I think face-to-face is the most powerful. Email, I prefer in terms of really going through things, putting it in writing, attaching. I've never been a loan officer that's, just quote something without backing it up with a document. Now, obviously, that documents the TCA. And then having a follow-up phone call. I haven't integrated the video yet. I have not. It is something that is on my list to implement in terms of the videos through the TCAs, but I'm not there yet. I'm taking baby steps.
That's okay, my dear. Ask Dave. It took me a year to do my first video. I did very many voice TCAs for a long time.
I'm getting there.
All right, guys. So this has been a great conversation, and we're only halfway through this, so we're at 31 minutes. I do want to open it up to the audience. I mean, I'm going to ask Kelly a couple more questions right now, but I do want everyone on this call to know. Hey, and remember, this is a mastermind. If you have just a topic you want to bring up, we've got Kelly as our guest. We have Michelle, you have myself, you have Jen. So if you have a question for the group, bring it on. And if you have a special question for our special guest, bring it on. I do want to get a sense for how many of you did annual reviews this last week. So, I just posted a poll question. How many annual reviews did you do this last week? I also want to remind folks this Tuesday, it's going to be myself and Todd Bookspan, and it's going to be all about annual reviews. We're going to, I think at the beginning of the year, I wrote that article, why annual reviews should be your number one priority for 2018. As a referral-based local loan officer, I made my case. I had that challenge. I'm going to announce who won the Mobile Accountability Challenge. For anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, and I think we're going to do it again. It was an experiment where people could opt in and get a text message at the end of every day saying, how many annual reviews did you create? And one, it would remind you, and two, we're going to see who won that contest. So, by the way, everybody, I've only got 40% of you voting so far. Everybody vote. Did you do 0? Did you do 1 to 2? Did you do 3 to 6? Did you do 7 or more annual reviews this week? Let us know. So, keep bringing in the questions, by the way. There we go. So it looks like, we're kind of 50% of you guys are doing annual reviews and 52% of you are not. So, all I can say is, if you want to turn your mortgage practice into a residual income practice, you should do annual reviews. If you have 500 past customers, that's 50 loans a year that you could be having, 50. Hey, so Kelly, I want to ask you a question. This came up in our Facebook group. And by the way, everybody, if you're on this call and you're not part of our special Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind group, you should be. It's got America's most successful loan officers that are part of this group. And the conversations that are taking place are awesome. But we had a question. I can't remember who brought it up. I'm going to try to scroll through it and pull it up. But someone was asking, what are you doing? Because Kelly, you told me that this is the case in your market, where the amount of time that it takes for a pre-approval to get into escrow is longer. So from the first time you have a buyer conversation is longer, and your pre-approval funnel is bigger. So I have two things. What are you doing so that, you're not necessarily accelerating, but what are you doing to be as effective as possible as you possibly can be with your pre-approval funnel? What are you doing at the point of sale? And then how are you keeping in touch with these families weekly, every other week? What is your rhythm to keep in touch so you can be as productive and efficient with your pre-approval funnel? If you can answer that question, please.
What we're doing is, one thing we've implemented is to update every week our referral partners on any referral that they've given to us, whether it's just the phone call that we've received or the follow-up, face-to-face, any other interaction that we've had with that client that week. We're sending an update every Friday on the current prospects that the realtor partners have sent to us. That way we keep them in the loop. Then they can keep us in the loop if they know anything on their end. So it just kind of opens up that communication channel. In terms of the pre-approval clients, you're right. I mean, we do have a very, very thin inventory in Santa Barbara. So sometimes clients are looking, there's a really, really high, our entry level home is now $850,000. There's not a whole lot of those that come on the market. So you've got lots of buyers competing. I'm like, it's a fine line of not harassing your client. You've got them pre-approved. Do I need to be touching base with them every week? I don't know, Dave. I'm a little bit uncertain I'm just very sensitive to the amount of things we have coming at us today in today's world. So I think in every other week, kind of random little check-in. I'm not sure. I'd love to get other people's take on that. Because I just don't want to harass. And I know that sounds harsh, and I don't mean it harshly. I just think, I've already made the connection. I know they're out there looking. I don't want to just add salt to the wound that they can't find the home. But I'd love to hear from the other panelists what their thoughts are on that.
Yeah, hey, before we go round robin on that, and I do want to do it, I'm having a hard time finding the post. By the way, everybody, you can tell how active our group has become. I mean, it's amazing how many, you know, this idea from Ryan Kiefer on, you know, a new move, a new strategy he's bringing into his annual reviews. There's just so much gold and so much value. So for everybody that is either making posts that add value, or for everybody that's commenting and making this community great, I'm super grateful for that. But I know that John Downs is someone I've interviewed, $100 million producer in Annapolis, Maryland. By the way, someone who became a mortgage coach probably about 3 or 4 months ago. So he's kind of on the same track that you are, Kelly. He was one of those, you know, doing lots of volume, but clearly understood that there was a better way to do things, and he's adopted. And one of the things he said, he likes the total cost analysis because it creates almost like a communication channel at the front end. And now when he's following up, it's just, you know, it's just simple, and he can hit them in a multi-channel way, whether it's email, text, or call with, would you like me to update your total cost analysis? Has anything changed? And, you know, and he's bringing changes. He's asking them for changes. And he had made a comment that really helped him manage those, his pre-approval file. I don't know. Have you done anything intentional, knowing that you're giving the total cost analysis at the front end? Is there anything that you're doing in terms of? Go ahead.
That's one thing I learned yesterday is the alerts that we can get, you know, when you send the link and someone clicks on the link, how powerful that is for our insight to have a reason to connect with the client. You know, exactly what John's doing. Hey, you know, do you want me to update it? If you see a client's back on it and it's been a couple weeks, then something must be going on with them. They've maybe found a house. I think that is I'm all about triggers. So I live and die on triggers. My calendar's my trigger. It tells me what to do, different steps. I need triggers. So that would be a great, perfect trigger for me to implement. So I just learned that yesterday. I'm ready to implement that into Mortgage Coach. You know, I'm a baby step person. Like, I had to learn all new software, and then I start the Mortgage Coach. I knew I couldn't use all the bells and whistles of Mortgage Coach because I'd get overwhelmed. And if I get overwhelmed, then I don't do it at all, kind of thing. So now I'm ready to implement in that email link, and that is the perfect trigger. That's the perfect trigger to connect with the client.
Love that. Hey, Jen, anything you want to add on that topic? I want to make sure I have 10 minutes at the closing of this call to ask a few more questions, but any place you want to go in terms of how you're managing, you know, kind of a bloated pre-approval funnel?
Yeah, well, I did. I wanted to just sort of answer the question that Kelly had asked, you know, is I think whatever any of us are doing is going to be acceptable as long as we're doing it consistently. And you mentioned that you have Salesforce, which is what I have as a CRM as well. You know, one of the things that we found that works very well for us right now is because of this long period of time, because they've made several offers and things change and rates go up, and is that, you know, each one of the clients, I think rather than doing something that says we're going to contact pre-approvals every week or every other week, I think it really is a case-by-case basis. And we are now heading into something that we may want to do here in the future and soon, is we're really heading into a customer experience world. It's not about customer service, it's about the experience that the client gets with us. I've mentioned several times that we have a chief experience officer at our company who makes sure that the experience is really good. And there's a disconnect between what companies feel they're doing from a customer service perspective and actually what the client is receiving. And so I'm finding that whatever works best for the client is what I'm doing, not what works best for my process. So we just have in Salesforce, we have a follow-up column that we added onto our screen so that based on the conversation we have, we determine when is the best time to make that next phone call. And then we print a report every week that tells us who we need to call that week because it was dedicated by the case by case. So I would say that, you know, I think it's becoming case by case. It's not going to be, it's part of our process, but it's not going to be so rigid as we've done before, as once every week this and once every 3 weeks that and once every month this. I think it's really going to determine what the client is asking from us. Any thoughts on
Love
that?
it.
Yeah.
Kelly, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, when you were saying the experience, I just was smiling so big because that's really one of my huge, and I'm in Leadership 360, L360, and one of my MIGs, my major impact goal, is to create a world-class borrower experience. And you're right, it's about that. We need to provide more. From the very moment that phone rings, that is when the experience starts, and then tell for the next 50 years. I mean, that's really to have a really nailed out process. And yes, each client is going to be different, and you can't try to mold them. Yes, you have to keep your process going, especially from, the time they go under contract. There is a pretty strict process, but you have to kind of mold around to the client's needs. Do they prefer phone or email? As simple as that. And then get a feel if they want a phone call every week. I mean, some people don't. I don't. I know how I feel. So if I don't like it, why should I think I should do it to other people? So I agree. It's about the experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hey, by the way, a few people asked, you said MIG is in Leadership 360s. What is that and what is MIG again? A few people asked that question.
Oh, okay. A MIG is a major impact goal. So part of this year-long course, it's Tim Brahim's Leadership 360 course, which is awesome. You start with a 7-day retreat in Costa Rica. It's the most amazing experience of your life, one of the most amazing experiences. And then you walk away with really having a very clear, defined 3 major impact goals that you want to achieve. So you narrow it down because sometimes, again, there's that overwhelmed feeling. I have 500 goals I need to complete, or I'm not doing this right, that right. So we beat ourselves up. This keeps you really focused. And so one of my 3 is that particular goal. And then each goal has very, very precise action items. So it's a very powerful way to set a goal. And then you have to explain how you're going to get to that goal with action items and dates and responsibilities. And it's a very, very, very detailed process.
Love that. So, by the way, on my screen right now, everybody, I want to shine a light. This was a question from Coach Todd Bookspan where he's like, hey, if you were sitting at a table with a handful of mortgage producers, top mortgage professionals, what question would you want discussed? And Rick Shear, who I know Kelly, I think he's actually the one that originally introduced us. Anyways, $100 million producer Rick said, hey, what do people say in front of their pre-approvals on the street? Are you doing drips? I know some loan officers call every week. Some people do things different. John Downs then jumped in and said, probably the single most important topic. In my opinion, in his market, he actually references that his typical buyer is a 3 to 8 month buying cycle. So now, again, I did a call with John. You guys should check that out. But that was one question. I would like to shine a light on this for everybody because Todd and I are going to, be using these, how you answer this as topics for future Friday calls. So please, if you have other questions, weigh in. Obviously we've had, it looks like we've had a pretty good engagement on this post, but I would like to give everybody a homework assignment. Take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, take 15 minutes, ask us a question, and we will make sure that we make this part of the topic on future calls. So, you said something else that I want to drill down on. It sounds like you did this retreat, you put a lot of deep thought, you got aligned on these major goals, and I'll bet you that all that time and reflection made you think differently. So like when you decided that, borrower experience is one of your MIGs, part of why you've adopted Mortgage Coach is because you started thinking differently about Mortgage Coach. Is that right? I mean, like what was it that triggered in your mind this year and you adopted it versus a year ago or 2 years ago? How did you think differently about Mortgage Coach now versus before?
I think I when I put myself in a client's shoes And I know I have the client's best interest in mind. I know I'm good at what I do. I know how to advise. I really believe that that's what we're here for, is we're mortgage advisors. Um, I, when I look at Mortgage Coach, I believe that the clients deserve that. They deserve to have a higher level experience, and that I can utilize the tools, this amazing software that you, Dave, have developed and grown and made even better, that I can supply that to my clients. And I feel like it's my duty. I mean, it's our job as a loan originator to step up our game and to always look at ways that we can be better, and to not beat ourselves up. So, I fall into the, very easily we can fall into the mindset of like, well, I haven't been doing that and that and that and that, and I'm just a failure, versus look, so I haven't been doing that. Oh, well, tomorrow's a new day. Today's a new day. Let's just implement one thing. Don't try to implement 50 things. That's why I took it slow. If I can just do a TCA and, do a purchase comparison, a refi comparison, and, get used to that, it's much easier to add the next level on of the feature of Mortgage Coach, like that email link. Now that seems pretty easy to me. Now, if you told me that in August or when I started using it, I would have probably not used Mortgage Coach, because I can get very overwhelmed when I'm trying to figure out this. I mean, it's a whole new way of me doing my client presentation. So I had to respect that and have some grace with myself in that transition period.
Love it. So I want to make sure people have got a couple takeaways that I think are really important from this conversation. And that is, part of why Kelly is so successful is you're upgrading it, but you already had a great experience. I mean, you've been very intentional about how you meet with people, how prepared they are. There's just, I'm sure there has been a wow. By the way, can you guys hear me still?
No.
Yeah. You went out. You went out, but you're in.
Okay. So I want to make sure everybody connects the dots. This is the year. If you want to not be going uphill with the wind at your face, and you want to be going downhill with the wind at your back in the mortgage business as a referral-based local loan officer, you need to upgrade your borrower experience. And to me, the best technology is the technology that helps you get in front of more people, connect with more people, and when you are connected, deliver a more meaningful connection and communication. So this is the year y'all got to do that. I did see some questions come in. Someone asked about scripts. And by the way, there's a lot of questions. What is a world-class client experience? What is Mortgage Coach do? I'm going to, two things for you. First of all, if anybody has questions, you can email me at dave@mortgagecoach, and I'll be a traffic cop and put the right people on my team in place and get you links to the videos. If anybody, it looks like there's some guests that are saying, how do I sign up? Email me, dave@mortgagecoach, and we'll get you there. But I want to just make sure everybody connects the dots. Some things happened in Kelly's business. One, she got really clear on her 3 things, not 20 things. One of those things was borrower experience, and now she is fanatically upgrading that. And that, by the way, that is the playbook. Like when I showed those slides at the beginning of this call, I'm going to pull it back up. And, I made the case that the mortgage advisor who can upgrade their digital game, by the way, just replace that with deliver the most, exceptional modern mortgage experience, which is how you connect as a human, and it's how you use technology to do that more and better. That is the key to the future, in my opinion, without a doubt. By the way, this is a quote that I think everybody in the mortgage industry, I've said it before, but I'm going to keep saying it, that I think that the illiterate of the 21st century are not those people who cannot read, write, but it's who the people that cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Your ability to upgrade your game and learn new strategies and unlearn dated strategies really will define your success as a mortgage professional. So we got about 10 minutes left. And Michelle, I'm going to toss it to you. And then folks, I'm going to look for questions from the audience. Michelle, what questions do you have for Kelly?
Hi, Kelly. That's great information. I mean, I love I love this group, you guys, because you get to hear so many things that you take that one takeaway. The beautiful thing that I heard was the MIG and your top three. And, you know, we as loan officers are, and I talk about this all the time, shiny object people. And so we get all these objects and we want to implement all of them. And when we go too fast, we usually have a disaster. So great start on total cost analysis and great theory on taking it slow so you can master it and then move on to the next level. I think you're going to do a more incredible business. I can't wait to see your first video. I'll put you on the challenge right now on that.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, perfect. Just do me a favor. Don't look at it twice. You can look at it once and then go, okay, don't worry about it. But some of the things that I loved on the takeaway on, you know, when do you follow up with your pre-approval clients, updating your pre-approval clients throughout the process, because our market time now is longer. It's not 2 days like it was, you know, 2 years ago. It's sometimes 8 months before our clients get in. So are you going to implement like changing your total cost analysis? If like the last 2 weeks, we've had a pretty significant shift in interest rates. Would this be something that you would now take out some of your pre-approvals and say, hey, I want to address the changing market, or would you not do that?
I think it's a great idea to connect with the pre-approvals so they're aware. I mean, when I meet with clients, I do the opposite of what a lot of loan originators do. Is I'm padding the rates and I explain to the client briefly. I go through how the markets work and I show them mortgage market guide and I kind of go through mortgage-backed securities, really, really surface level. I don't dig in deep unless the client wants me to. There is always those one or two that are like really interested in finding out more. But I think it's a great opportunity to connect and to go through that with clients. I mean, even though you don't want to be the bearer of bad news, I still think it's our job, it's our duty to be informing the client so they're prepared.
Agreed. 100%. Yep, agreed.
Sorry,
I paused so you don't get to hear. I paused so you don't get to hear my chickens in the background. Not my chickens, but my neighbor's chickens.
Love it. We love chickens. Bring it on. Good fresh eggs. Hey, I've seen a couple questions come in. You know, people, you know, whether they're asking about your team, but I think a super on point question just came in from someone who doesn't have a team. You know, but they're hearing from you about this amazing experience. So if you can just kind of flash forward, because you didn't always have a team. You know, I mean, everybody that's got a team did not start with a team. But you know, what advice do you have for the solo loan officer who doesn't have a team, but they're listening to this call and they want to have an amazing borrower experience? I mean, I know how I would answer that, but I would just love any wisdom you have. You know, think of you, put yourself in the shoes of you're a sales manager and you're talking to a bunch of loan officers that, you know, they haven't got to the point where they can have a team yet. What's most important? What advice do you have for them?
I think it would be structure and consistency. Definitely, I think time management's huge. I mean, we all can take in courses and there's 5,000 books on time management. I think it's really about time blocking in your calendar. I don't think we serve the client or the realtor partner if we're flying by the seat of our pants, a chicken with our head cut off. You know, we just heard about chickens. But I just think if you have a structure and you're not just, you know, one-offing it, you get a call and you go to that and then you go this and you go start doing that. And then you know, just like this, I think it's really about setting. Here's the thing, Dave, is when we get a phone call, even if I was the one to take it, I'm not dropping everything and saying, sure, let me go ahead and you know, start doing a loan app over the phone. I still have a very, very defined structure. I think I could be the one explaining to the client how the pre-approval process works, sending in the intro email after we have the conversation so they're educated on how it works, and then scheduling a set time. I schedule even phone meetings. Everything is very structured, and I think it's a great service to a client that they have a set time where they know that this conversation is going to happen, whether it's face-to-face, obviously that is easier, but when it's on the phone, I find that when clients have a set scheduled time that I'm going to be calling them, and by the way, don't be late, you call them at that set time, A, that's impressive because you called right on the dot, and B, they're in the right mindset to have the conversation that you've set them up for that pre-approval. Even better is when they come in and sit down with you face to face. So it's no different. If you don't have a team, you can still be doing that first intro call, explaining to them how it works, and then scheduling it. Don't just be flying by the seat of your pants. I don't think that serves the client very well, and I think the experience could be a little different, a little weaker. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, what you said aligns with a lot of top producer interviews that I've done over the, more than a decade now. And I've interviewed, probably over 1,000 top producers over my tenure. And my advice to you to ask that question is that, I have yet to interview a top producer that does not have some non-negotiables that they implement consistently. And one of those is prospecting. They make time to have sales time. And that happens consistently, rigorously. And, I just don't talk to top producers where, oh yeah, I prospected a lot last week, but haven't prospected this week. That is, a success criteria. And I don't talk to many top producers that don't have a consistent sales experience. While Mortgage Coach is the best consistent sales experience, but they're consistent. It's not like I wing it with this borrower. I really prepare for this one. I do a great presentation for that one. I do a so-so presentation for that one. I mean, they've got a perfect loan process. So, my advice to anyone who's, an individual loan officer is, get super clear on what is your perfect loan process, get really good at delivering it consistently, and then scale it. And by the way, if you haven't done that, when you start adding assistants to the party, if you don't have structure and consistency, it's not efficient. It usually doesn't work. You either drive them crazy, they drive you crazy, and you don't scale. So, that's the other thing is that, you've got to create these non-negotiables of this structure and this process, and then you add people to it to scale it. So, hey, we are like 2 minutes left. I do want to push out a survey. I want to know what you guys thought of today's call. Also want to remind folks that last week's call was awesome. I had a tremendous amount of reviews, incredible feedback. We did that interview with Bill Hillstad. I would love to, next week hear how you're implementing that. So let us know, for those of you that are downloading your LinkedIn contacts and connections and uploading them into Facebook. I do want to talk about that and hear about it. But let us know what you thought of today's call. And by the way, if you are a guest and you want to learn more about Mortgage Coach, you can email me at dave@mortgagecoach.com. We'll be happy to get you on the team. And if you have questions about, different content, different videos, I'll loop in the right people on the Mortgage Coach team. Kelly, we got a minute. Any last words of wisdom for the Mortgage Coach community before we wrap up today's call?
First of all, thank you for letting me be part of the Mortgage Coach community. And secondly, if you're not part of it, I highly recommend it. I think it's a wow factor for clients. I think it's a necessity for clients, and it's really user-friendly. And I'm not, like I said, I had resisted a lot of things that I probably should have been doing this a long time ago. So, but I'm excited I'm doing it now.
Yeah, we are too. You're a great success story, and again, just a great example of a super successful mortgage professional that is upping your game and preparing yourself, your clients, and your whole team for success in 2020. So thanks for being that, and I look forward. You and I are going to do another 10, 15-minute interview. Looking forward to that. And Michelle and Jen, as always, thank you for making time to be leaders in this community and bring value today. Really grateful for it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Great call.
All right. Hey, this call is a wrap, everybody. Reminder, next Monday, Todd and I will be drilling down on annual reviews. Join that call. And lastly, make sure that, we want more people in this amazing group that we have. So if you know some, ambitious future successful loan officers, invite them to this group, invite them to this call, like, share, and comment on the video. If you're watching this video, make sure you give us a like.